So my buddy had a question about this "you said race riot" shit. So I'm gonna listen to this video, and then I got the article up, or the whole paper thing, the links. So we'll see what we find out in a minute.
In 2021, the Special Operations Command under Mark Milley, as chairman of the Joint Chiefs, put out an instruction manual, a vision for 2021 and beyond, that contained instructions and examples on how the military could work with the State Department, Intel Services, and USAID using race riots. Here's examples of some of the instruction manuals here.
I should pick those race riots. Anna Polina Luna. You said 2021 race riots. Okay, let's see. At least let's take down the talking points. Oh, okay. All right. So I got another thing to fucking read in a minute. Cool. I like that. Keep sending me shit.
1 and 2, in order to destabilize nations. In addition to that, they advocated for setting up job fairs near some of these riots so that disaffected workers could gain employment. Now, as a member of Congress, I ask myself, did anyone in USAID get elected to Congress? How about to a presidency? When you are acting in the shadows and you are
No, but they did everything they got. Everything they've spent or do spend, they get it from congressional approval. So none of it's technically a secret. So I think it's silly when people keep saying that, like, were they this? No, but Congress voted on everything they fucking voted for.
destabilizing nations using race wars to do it and then advocating that the military does it. In my opinion, not only do you put the future generations that would have to fight in those wars in jeopardy, but at the end of the day, you're operating without any oversight. So I guess the question for you guys is, Mr. Natsios, is that something that you were aware of? Are you aware that that instruction manual is being promoted not just with the military under Milley, but that USAID may be operating in this capacity? Because in my opinion, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of many of my constituents, I don't think that's where our taxpayer dollars need to be going.
Well, I completely agree with you. Personally, I doubt very much that what you've been told is accurate. But let me just...
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to read all this too, eventually.
Well, I'm telling you right now, I brought the receipts, okay? And the reason, I'm not trying to argue with you, but I find this disturbing on so many capacities. And I would like to also just, if I can, sir, Mike Benz, what he's exposing and bringing receipts, I've confirmed it. Thank you for doing that on behalf of the American people, because I understand that when you take on the intelligence agencies, we're also now finding that apparently in this manual that they're also advocating for social media campaigns, illuminating controversy to a global audience. I mean, using disinformation.
Using Russia playbook on disinformation
campaigns. Is this happening here in our own country? Where's the oversight?
Just to ask you, who in the agency, what bureau?
I just said you can actually find that instruction in this manual that Milley
Military
approved.
manual, isn't it?
Yes, but Milley approved it. You have it right here. USAID working with government agencies. I mean, this is not.
Wait a second. Did AID say that, or did the military say?
Well, that would be the question for you, sir.
Well, I don't
mean,
think
these
AID
operations.
wrote that.
Sorry to interrupt you. These.
AID. I gotta look that up now. Who is AID? Aid, obviously, but who?
Operations that are taking place without government oversight, without the authority of the president, without the authority of Congress. Real men and women serve and they die because of stuff like this. When you destabilize nations without any oversight, we have to fight those wars. You have our chairman right here that literally risked his life. No, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm frustrated. I know it's not necessarily your fault.
But I'm telling you,
but
it's
as a head of
nonsense.
agency, that's not.
I'm telling you what Ben's told you is nonsense.
That's not nonsense. These are the information
AID
forms. And
didn't write that.
Ben's put this out to the American
AID
people.
did not write that,
Sir, I
Congresswoman.
disagree with you on so many levels. And I appreciate you being here
How do
today.
you know
But
they
this is
wrote
not
it?
easy. How do I know what?
Any person can write AID's name into a manual. It goes on all
Sir,
the time.
they are advocating that the U.S. military
Not
work
the-
with
not
taxpayer-funded State
AID.
Department, USAID funds to destabilize nations. That is
Someone in
unacceptable.
special-
I don't care who wrote it. USAID needs to come down and condemn it. They need to provide oversight to Congress on exactly where our tax dollars are going. And I know I might be at 17 seconds with our time, but sir, I hope that you agree. Yes or no? Do you agree that this is wrong? Period.
I
Should
think
this
the
be
military
happening?
should be held accountable. I think it's
And should
nonsense.
USAID condemn it?
Nonsense to
Should
suggest that
USAID
AID
condemn
wrote
it?
that.
Should they condemn it?
The military should.
Should USAID also condemn this?
Of course, we don't
Thank you.
comment. AID does
Chairman, I
not
yield my
comment
time.
on military
Thank
matters.
you, sir.
Ladies, time's
None of our
expired.
business.
Okay. Let's read this. The 2018 National Defense Strategy articulates the need to shift towards great power competition. While the fight against violent extremists persists, we must also turn our attention to near peer adversaries who close the gap on our nation's competitive advantage over the last 2 decades. Despite the changes, the fundamental nature of our fight remains the same. The irregular warfare annex to the 2018 NDS highlights that irregular warfare is inextricably linked to national security in the modern era. Our vision supports this enduring concept, which is foundational to our fight and is anticipated to remain an integral part of our future defense strategies as well. As master of IW, we have always risen to the challenge, and we will continue to do so in the future. Just as our formation played an enormous role in the counterterrorism and counterinsurgency fights on the previous 2 decades, our role in competition will be crucial to set the conditions for success. We will continue to serve as strategic sensors and members of influence networks which enabled Jim partnered to impose costs on our adversaries in multiple domains and set the conditions to win on any battlefield should deterrence fail. To expand our competitive advantage, we must embrace revolutionary change needed to compete, deter, and win against near-peer adversaries in an increasingly complex environment. We must focus our attention towards innovation that enables convergence, force development, and CONUS-based operational support. This vision lays the groundwork for how we will adapt to the first to observe, the first to influence, and the first to compete in 2021 and beyond. Richard Engel, Scooter Grokowski, and Ted Mooser. Okay. The nation's premier partnership force in the returns of the great power competition, 1st Special Forces Command Airborne, serves as a national global partner of choice for irregular warfare that operates as strategic sensors and influence networks using an indigenous approach. Working with our joint interagencies, intergovernmental, and multinational partners, we are the first to observe our adversaries' actions and the first to influence target audiences and the first to compete with those who wish to harm our nation. So that makes sense. The 1st Special Ops Forces Commander assigns, equips, trains, certifies, and validates Army Special Operation Forces, soldiers and units to conduct global special operations in support of theater and national objectives. On order, 1st Special Forces Command Airborne deploys as the Army Corps of the Special Operations Joint Task Force Headquarters to command and control special operations and/or coalitions forces to support global crisis responses and contingency missions. Our national focus on defeating violent extremist organizations over the last 2 decades allowed our strategic competitors to close the gap on our nation's military capacities. As a rogue regiment of VEOs continued to destabilize regions and near-peer opponents increasingly undermined long-established international orders, our national leaders have shifted their primary national security efforts back to interstate strategic competitions while balancing continued counter VEO's requirements. The accelerating complexity of our global strategic environment complicates the shift to GBCs. Rapid technological and organizational advancements that changed the character of warfare also created ambitious conditions where military, political, informational, and economic realms overlap and where all domains can be contested simultaneously. The environment's complexities allow adversaries using manipulation, coercion, and deception to compete for partnerships balanced against U.S. interests and deny access to U.S. forces. So yeah, I mean, the longer we don't bullshit, people's military is caught up to us. We are the nation's Army's Special Operations Division, composed of 23,000 civil affairs, psychological operations, special forces, support soldiers, and civilians who continuously compete with our adversaries across the globe simultaneously in 70 countries by leveraging capabilities that span all 5 operational domains: land, maritime, air, space, and cyberspace. We are quiet professionals, unconventional warriors, and masters of indigenous approach, and leaders who are uniquely educated and trained as regional and cultural experts to successfully operate in complex, austere, and politically sensitive environments to support or counter resistant movements. As America only dedicated full spectrum unconventional warfare forces, First Special Forces Command provide a potent and threatening weapon against authoritarian adversaries in great power competition. Our culture is one of constant innovation and improvement. We seek the best people, the most modern equipment, and the most effective methods in order to achieve success. As the world evolves, we quickly maneuver and adapt to anticipate and solve our nation's most wicked problems. Our country, our allies, and our partners rely on us to excel in ambitious environments, overcome challenging conditions, influence, and win. And whether on the battlefield, online, or in competition with our collective adversaries, we are the global partners of choice. SOF, humans are more important than hardware. Quality is better than quantity. Special operation forces cannot be mass produced. Competent special operation forces cannot be created after emergency has occurred. And most special operations require a non-SOF support. Special Operations Force. Through in-depth understanding of the operational environment across multiple domains, we provide national decision makers with options to counter our adversaries' activities, leverage, or influence. Due to our persistently deployed, interconnected posture, our support from our CONUS base, we serve as strategic sensors and influence networks around those who seek to undermine our partnership and challenge our military advantages across the threat spectrum, from great powers to violent terrorist threats. We partnership through trust, habitual relationships, and professionalism that undercuts our adversaries' attempt to manipulate. We deter conflict by outmaneuvering our adversaries across multiple domains simultaneously by constantly expanding our physical access and influence. If war becomes unavoidable, then we will continue to leverage our robust network of GIM partnerships and surrogates to produce effective against adversaries in complex, austere, and sensitive environments that set the condition for victory by the joint staff or joint force. Civil affairs. Soldiers engage with local populations and governments to observe, identify, and exploit civil military opportunities to gain popular support for USG and partner nations' governance objectives. Psychological operations. Soldiers are the Army's experts in influence, using both traditional and modern means of communication to shape the attitudes and behaviors of select foreign audiences. Special Forces. Soldiers or Green Berets are the nation's experts in the indigenous approach who shape the environment and specialize in supporting or defeating resistant movements. The Special Operation Sustainment Brigade supports each regiment with world-class intelligence, logistics, signal, and medical capabilities that allow our forces to operate freely around the world. I mean, so far, nothing fucking seems pretty fucking bad like this bitch is fucking claiming. We operate alongside the National Missions Force and interagencies intelligence communities partnered to exclude or execute discrete, sensitive activities in support of the national objectives. Across the formation, the regionally aligned Special Force Task and Combined Joint Special Operations Task Force act as the convergence headquarters in everyday competition and conflict. By combining our unique capabilities in mission-specific cross-functional teams, First SEF or SFC achieved outsized effects on the nations in which the whole is greater than sums of the parts. The value we provide. Direct support for strategic objectives. As practitioners of irregular warfare, our forces is uniquely educated to operate in the human dimensions of war within complex and assured environments. Our team operates in small footprints with enduring relationships around the world, providing national decision makers with advantages in formations, intelligence, and influence that generate low visibility and low cost options that produce high returns. Our efforts in the competition space and against terrorist threats perceived the time and reduced the resources necessary for our army and joint forces to be prepared for, deploy, and win the next war. Additionally, we respond to global crises and form the core of the Special Operation Joint Task Force to provide Joint Task Force commanders with one consolidation, the SOF headquarters. God, it's hard. Global presence persistently engaged. Our long-standing regional relationship with security, governance, development, and influence partnered enabled aggressive networking against revisionist states, rogue regimes, and violent extremist organizations. Not limited to diplomatic zones or capital cities, our expertise and presence at the frontiers, along borders, and within weak states ensure we are the first ones to see and sense subversive attempts to gain leverage or advantage against our nation. Advise, assist, and enable partners. Our ability to identify, reports, exploit adversaries' activities enabled multi-domain options for gym partnerships to compete, deter, resist, and impose costs on our opponents. Should competition escalate into conflict, we provide uniquely tailorable partnered options to strike deep cognitively, virtually, and physically. We shape conditions to disrupt adversaries and create windows for opportunity that enable gym partners to dominate and win. The framework provides a basic structure and roadmap, but how first strategic framework could drive towards visions for future 2021 and beyond. It is composed of 4 lines of effort and 5 current priorities. All right, Our 4 lines of efforts are enduring and drive alignment of our actions and resources to achieve immediate objectives in pursuit of the end state. The people are the most precious resource. First SFC Fields is the most capable and diverse and professional special operation forces in the world. We reinforce a culture of accountability and teamwork and empower leaders through trust and mission command. We are successful when we employ a cross-functional team of quiet professionals with a highly ethnic and moral values to succeed in the most complex and ambitious environments. We execute ARSOF talent management to recruit and retain the highest quality soldier and civilian in the nation. Readiness. First SFC rebuilds readiness every day. We employ purpose-built, validate cross-functional teams designed to dominate our adversaries through convergence in the unique capabilities across multiple domains. We pursue competitive advantage daily through rigorous, leader centric training to deploy a diverse team of teams trained and validated to compete, deter, and win in conflict. We procure missions critical equipment to properly resource our forces for operational requirement, while aggressively pursuing the next generation of technology to succeed in the information age. We project capability through the deployable command nodes and provide expeditionary special operation task force to meet the needs of the geographic combatant commanders, the GGC. You crazy. You a chubby little guy. I said love you too. Innovation. First, SFC invests in equipment, processes, and approaches that advance ARSOF into the information age. While modernization improves existing capabilities, innovation develops new methods and technologies needed to succeed in the future operating environment. Through a broad network of academia, industry, the interagency, and the greater SOCOM enterprise, and we envision our formation and capabilities in novel ways to ensure convergence force deployment and a CONUS-based operation support. As one of the SOCOM's primary research, testing, development, and evaluation partners, we are uniquely postured to exploit technological inflection points to give our soldiers revolutionary capabilities at the point of need and to share success with the wider enterprise. Relationships. As a nation's premier partner force, relationships are interwoven into everything we do. The irregular warfare space is largely and complex, and no single entity can achieve success without help from a variety of partners. First, FSC leverage organic, cultural, and regional expertise to build relationships and broaden networks across the GIM enterprise. We are collaborative team builders using our global understanding and placement to create opportunities for change. We leverage authorities and capabilities of our partners to optimize effects and create overmatch to achieve mission objectives. I'm on 7. All right. I'm about to be on 8. I wonder how far is this? I'm almost halfway there, at least. Okay. All right. Current priorities. The title of a nation's premier partnership force is aspirational and not simply bestowed upon us. We must earn it. First, SFC has 5 priority efforts that will set initial conditions for the command to be successful as the nation's primary force for competition against our adversaries. These priorities will shift over time as we achieve our goals, but this is where we must focus now. Information warfare. Who would have thought? The IWC is a CONUS-based operational-focused standing task force designed to support GCC, TCSO, and GIM partners to identify, expose, exploit, and disrupt adversaries' influence campaigns. The IWC integrates cross-functional capabilities from psychological operations, intelligence, cyber, informational operations, and other information-related capabilities to mass effects against global competition in the environmental. Yeah, so yeah, be good fucking cyber warfare people, for sure. Special Operations Joint Task Force Contingency. First, SFC establishes the SOJTFC to act as a convergence headquarters at echelon above brigade, which provides expeditionary campaigning in times of crisis and conflict, enabling missions command for joint and combined SOFs. First, FSC forms the core of the SOJTFC and sets the conditions necessary to seize the innovation and retain freedom of action from the joint forces. The blank, whatever, the creates a synergy across all domains and converged combat powers, including the RSOF cross-functional teams at echelon, to disrupt and defeat the physical, virtual, and cognitive coercion of our adversaries. While the formation regionally aligned 0506 level are the convergence headquarters in everyday competition and conflict. The SOGIF enables mission command during times of additional need that are caused by a crisis. Cross-functional teams. First FSC cross-functional team provides SOF with a competitive edge. CFTs at all echelons combined with the unique capabilities of civil affairs, psychological operations, special forces, and enablers to rapidly integrate multi-domain capabilities that create layered options across time and space. First FSC developed and provides hyper-enabled teams that are empowered, equipped, and networked to support high-end partners and allies across the spectrum of special operations. Hard target to defeat companies possess multi-domain capabilities to obtain access to and defeat enemies' hard targets. They operate with regional partnerships to defeat these hard targets in sensitive and deny environments to enable the joint force to achieve overmatched. The SOFTC is a premier warfighting training venue for RSOF. It is scalable, flexible venue to test, train, certify, and validate units against a variety of contingencies and missions in the A1AD multi-domain environment. Using this SOFTC as a base for operation, First SFC executes realistic, challenging training scenarios from decentralized locations to replicate geopolitical dispersion and operational reach back that enables mission command. The first FSC will continue to invest with our partners to ensure the multi-domain training environment that includes space, cyber, network development, and EU capabilities remain current. RSOF conducts special operations during competition and conflict as part of the Joint Force Commander's campaign plan to mitigate risk, deter, disrupt, or defeat hostile aggression, and to gain time in order to set up strategic and operational options. By expanding partnerships with local irregular forces, Army, special operations allow the Joint Forces to sense and create a picture of our adversaries' layered standoff system. When directed, RSOF penetrate denied areas to disintegrate enemies' anti-access systems, thereby producing multiple physical, virtual, and cognitive dilemmas. Oof. Cross-functional teams, civil affairs. Civil affair forces are essential to the success of all missions that occur near, among, and or with civilian population governments or inter-organizational partnerships. Underpinning all civil affairs capabilities in the comprehensive socio-cultural understanding of the operation or operating environment. The Special Operations Civil Affairs Forces conducts preparation for the environment support to unconventional warfare, foreign internal defense, and civil network development and engagement across competition continuum. CNDE is the process by which civil affairs forces engage, evaluates, develops, and integrates civil networks and their capabilities into operations. Cultural orientation, regional expertise, linguistic capabilities, adversary skills, and a civil network developed expertise distinguish civil affairs forces from other entities on the battlefield. In the cross-functional team model, SOF CA may take the lead during cooperation and post-conflict consolidation of gains. In cross-functional team model, civil affairs may take the lead during cooperation and post-conflict. All right. CNDE is a key to support both PO and SF. Through CNDE, CA can assist PO counterparts through targeting on influence activities and provide access to populations for information delivery during UWFID or PE. CA further enables MISO by identifying civil partners for establishing influence networks and coordinating projects in support of shaping perception and behavior, then assessing the effects of those efforts. The CA supports to the Special Forces stem heavily from CNDC for CF and CA provides multiple inputs into the targeting cycle for both kinetic and non-kinetic effects. CA can recommend targets for the CF to engagement, including direct action, by providing information and analyzing on friendly and adversary centers by gravity, decisive points, and critical links with nodes with a civil component of the operating environment. The CA can mitigate undesirable second and or third order by effects by populating no strike restricted target allies or target lists with politically or culturally sensitive sites. CA may provide SF with access and placement for target engagement. In both competition and conflict, special operations formation provide unique capabilities empowering RSF and DoD to compete, fight, and win across the competition continuum. Civil affairs, psychological operatives, and special forces, along with enablers such as cyber edu, contribute to distinct yet mutually supporting ways. No one branch leads the cross-functional team. The model is agile and adaptive, allowing operational requirements to determine the lead of the supporting elements at any point during the operation. The cross-functional team is strong when each element has a robust understanding of the capabilities, requirements, and limitations. The psychological operation, the PO force, conduct military informational support operations in permissive, uncertain, and hostile environments to change the behavior of foreign audiences, both friendly and adversarial, in support of the U.S. objectives. PO forces analyze select audiences by determining critical vulnerabilities and accessibilities of the target's population's information is that a D? I can't. My eyes. Conduit. Yeah, conduit. And thinking. PO shapes the informational and cognitive dimensions of operational environments by creating informational campaigns that shape and challenge established perception frameworks. PO is integrated across all special operation cores actively, including UWFID COIN. In addition, PO forces conduct PE activities by creating favorable conditions for friendly force operations. PO forces can incorporate military deception operations by disrupting and exploiting adversarial decision-making cycles. In the cross-functional team model, PO can lead the mission in the cooperation and competition continuums. Psychological support. Okay. PO forces can analyze select target audiences to ensure that planned civil affairs operations are targeting civil vulnerabilities and conduits for achieving desired effects. PO forces create and disseminate supporting information narratives to accompany CA projects and programs, amplifying their influence on targets' population perceptions. PO also supports CA through a counter-adversary group, adversary information activities, which include disinformation and propaganda, by identifying and mitigating false perceptions of CA's initiatives. PO forces assist SF's operations by establishing and passive support by the target population. PO forces isolate and exploit enemy individuals from their adversarial support system and provide psychological effects supporting DA's activities. PO forces also conduct human network targeting for both kinetic and non-kinetic effects by identifying and prioritizing key leaders, communicators for SF engagement. SF conducted 9 principal tasks: unconventional warfare, foreign, international, or internal defenses, preparation for environment, counterinsurgency, security force assistance, special reconnaissance, direct action, counterterrorism, and counter-proliferation. Of these, its 2 primary functions are UW and FID. In UW, Special Forces works with and through resistance movements to coerce, disrupt, and overthrow occupying powers. Whoa, there we go. Unconventional warfare. Special Forces work with and through resistant movements. Okay, so at least it worked with them. Who's to coerce, disrupt, or overthrow occupying powers. The FID entails partnerships with friendly governments to strengthen regional or area security through a wide range of military to military engagement activities. Although conventional forces can also conduct some of the principal tasks, SF provides a uniquely capability by using specialized formation tactics, techniques, and procedures. SF discreetly shapes the operating environment in both peace and complex uncertainty. In the cross-functional team model, SF would typically take the lead in conflict. Special Forces support their civil affairs teammates by providing operation or options to address certain civil vulnerabilities, especially those related to security. This can achieve several effects in support of CAO, including providing CAA forces with initial access to previously denied areas or enabling consolidation of gang post-conflict. Such support also contributes to CA's influence operation by potentially resolving or exploiting grievances among civil populations. In support of PO, Special Force can create tangible effects to accompany messages, effects, increase narrative credibilities. Effects may either be lethal or non-lethal, including activities like training exercises with partner militaries or kinetic engagement of targets. Such as activities, when performed in conjunction with MISO, strengthened, verified, and legitimized PO's narratives among the local populace, which in turn increases influence over target audiences. Special Forces can conduct such activities in support of military deception operations. First, FSC formations, civil affairs, psychological operations, and special forces each contribute uniquely and specialized capabilities to TSEO and GCC operations. Remarkable of their own merits, these capabilities are best leveraged through sequential and or simultaneously combinations of each their own strengths in the CFT method. Doing so achieves outsized effects on cognitive, military, and civil realms by means of small special operations. As masters of the art of resistance, Army Special Operation Forces work with partners to anticipate, prepare for, and defeat threats ranging from insurgencies to occupying foreign powers. To accomplish this, civil affairs, psychological operations, special forces conduct activities to support or defeat resistant movements. RSOF formations conduct foreign internal defense to improve partnered governments' capacity to defeat internal stability threats. They further conduct special force assistance, enable partner nations to resist both internal and external threats in competition and conflict. RSOF conduct information warfare to prepare target audiences to support friendly efforts or resist adversaries. RSOF also conducts civil network development and engagement to understand, empower, and potentially mobilize civil networks to resist adversaries. In crisis or conflict, RSOF and JIM partnered conduct unconventional warfare and counter unconventional warfare to enable resistance against governments, occupying powers, and revanquish states. Civil affairs. Formations increase the legitimacy of the resistance or partnered government by strengthening bonds with its local populace. This may be accomplished through provisions of essential services, outreach, and engagement in other activities. CA can also delegitimize an adversary's government or insurgency by identifying civil vulnerabilities for exploitation. Psychological operations. Formations advise and assist partnered governments, irrational organizations, in the execute of SIACs to favorably influence target audiences, preparing them to resist the adversaries and support friendly operations. Formations train and assist partners forces, including foreign militaries and irregular organizations, to fight and defeat internal and external threats. Legacy one. A civil affair team acting as a civil military support element from the 91st Civil Affairs Battalion, or on its third tour to West African nations of Nauru, was on its way to meet with a local government leader. While driving on the highway, team noticed a billboard with Chinese characters, a photo of the southern port city, and a prominent yellow ribbon. The CMSC took a photo and continued to their meeting. Upon returning to their team's house, they shared the photo with a cross-functional team from the 3rd Forces, blah, 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 from the 3rd Special Forces Group and the Psychological Operation Detachment from the 7th Psychological Operation Battalion. Recognizing the billboard's near-peer competition significance, they developed a plan to investigate the Chinese activity. Each element would gather information on their respective development and information while they were exploring local publicity of publicly available information. While the CFS reconvened after the reconnaissance efforts, the SFODA's assistant detachment commander mentioned that Nauru commander team leader, a longtime acquaintance, stated high-level Chinese officials recently visited to discuss large-scale real estate investment. At a local development meeting, the CMSE learned that Chinese purchased land around the southern port city. The PSYOPs detachment located advertisements on local social media outlets signaling Chinese investment in the port area. Recognizing the significance, the cross-functional teams transmitted their findings through SOCRA Africa to the 8th PSYOP Group Information Warfare at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. As a first special commander, Coan-based information with capability, the IWC leveraged the global's first FSC network to illuminate the threat activity. They rapidly integrated the 389th Intelligence Battalion, all sources of intelligence, against the Chinese investment in Nauru. Assisted by sophisticated AI and machine learning, within 48 hours, the IWC found the original source of the advertisement, a Chinese construction conglomerate active in Nauru. Over the last 2 years, the advertisement appeared a deep water port that would begin construction in just over a month. It further confirmed that the port as a keynote in China's Belt and the Road Initiative for 2025 and likely naval military extensions in 2035. The IWC immediately developed an influence campaign to enable GIM partners to discredit Chinese activities several weeks before the ribbons cutting ceremony, impede the Chinese from further purchasing land. SOCRA Africa directed the FSCFT to monitor and report the Chinese activities. Nuvarian government cooperation was key to stopping port establishment and to inhibit further Chinese expansion. With groundbreaking less than 1 month away, the American diplomat needed more time to persuade the Nuvarian leadership against Chinese investment. SOCRA Africa requested assistance from SOGFTC, working with Fort Bragg, North Carolina, developing a plan and establish mission command to convene SOF capabilities of the program. Yeah, this is silly. So no. Is this true? Okay. Oof. Okay, what did Bill send me now? First session, HR. Okay, whatever. Let me take notes on this. See how fucking long this is. Oh, that's it? Oh, it's nothing. Okay, I'm gonna take notes. To authorize the president to enter into negotiations to acquire Greenland and rename the Greenland Red, White, and Blue Land. Fucking stupid. Seriously, how fucking retarded are people? Red, White, Blue Land. Stupid. Mr. Carter of Georgia introduced the following bill, which was referred to the Committee of Foreign Affairs in addition to the Committee on Natural Resources for a period of subsequential determined by the Speaker, in each case for consideration of such provisions as fall within the jurisdiction of the committee concerned. A bill to authorize President to enter negotiations to acquire Greenland and to rename it Red, White, and Blue Land. Be it an act by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America. This act may be cited as the Red, White, and Blue Act of 2025. Mr. Carter of Georgia. Buddy Carter. Red, White, Blue Act or something like that. Earl L. Buddy Carter releases the following today as America is back and will soon be bigger than ever with the addition of Red, White, and Blue Land. President Trump has correctly identified the purchase of what is now Greenland as a national security priority, as we will proudly welcome its people to join the freest nation to ever exist when our negotiator-in-chief inks the monumental deal. Fucking stupid. Like I said, I thought we were so poor. We're $36 trillion in debt, but we can have money to pay for this, right? It's funny how that works. Stupid. It appears so, Bill. It appears so. Fucking silly. Maybe they won't. I bet they don't. In a new conference Thursday, President Trump and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi sought to emphasize their strong relationship in areas where the two countries would work together. The two also fielded the questions on Mr. Trump's deportation program, tariffs, and ending the Ukraine-Russian conflict. Mr. Trump declined to say what Russia should give up in negotiations and in war with Ukraine, nearly 3 years after Russia launched its full-scale invasion. Maybe Russia will give up a lot. Maybe they won't, he said. The negotiations really haven't started. He reiterated that he did not believe the Ukraine could be a member of NATO, suggesting that Ukraine provoked Russia by trying to join the military. Again, why the fuck does Russia get to dictate what another country gets to do? And they were the ones being invaded. So why the fuck should they have to give up anything? So dumb. The president also revealed that he expects China to catch up to Russia and the United States as a nuclear power soon. He's building a very strong nuclear power, Mr. Trump said of the Chinese leader Xi Jinping. He's not very close to Russia and the United States right now, but he will be soon. He'll catch up over a period of 4 to 5 years, they say. Mr. Trump said he plans to meet with Xi and Russian Vladimir Putin in the future to talk about denuclearization. Good luck. The whole world is on fire. I'll have to put out the fires, he said. But after I put out the fires, I'm going to meet with China. I'm going to meet with Russia, and we're going to see if we can de-escalate it. We can bring down the military, especially as it pertains to nuclear. In his opening remarks, Mr. Trump said, there is truly a special bond between the United States and India, the world's oldest democracy and the world's largest democracy. He also announced the United States would be increasing military sales to India, and the two countries will be working together like never before to confront the threat of radical Islamic terrorists. I thought he was supposed to be anti-peace or anti-war and shit. Okay. He also said that they reached an agreement on oil and gas that would make the United States the leading supplier to India. The country will also team up to create one of the greatest trade routes in all of history, said Mr. Trump, explaining that it would run from India to Israel to Italy and outward to the United States, and includes ports, railways, and undersea cables. Modi announced that India would soon open new consulates in New York or Los Angeles. Whoa. Okay, thanks for moving. In Los Angeles and Boston, India currently has a dozen diplomatic missions throughout the United States, including Washington, D.C., New York, and Chicago. The Indian leader said his country was prepared to take back any of its citizens who are in the United States illegally, but said that some are lured abroad by big dreams and big promises but become trafficked. Silly. So he cut 3,000 forest workers and 1,000 VAs. Okay. Why? Silly. more trade war shit. Signed a memo calling on his administration to determine the equivalent of the reciprocal tariffs with respect to foreign trading partners. Got the fucking education silly. I don't even know who this Ursa Ray is. Must be this chick. Insecure. Yep, and all these fucking accidents in the sky. No big deal. No big deal. It's only been like 7 of them, like in 3 weeks. But I bet that's Biden's fault too, I'm guessing. I know, crazy. All these pilots. I don't know how the fuck he thinks he's gonna get that through birthright stupid ass people. U.S. Department of African and Asian migrants to pay. What? U.S. deporting African and Asian migrants to Panama in diplomatic breakthrough. What does this mean? The United States is deporting unauthorized migrants from nations in Africa and Asia to Panama, a major diplomatic breakthrough for the Trump administration's mass deportation efforts. Eternal federal documents obtained by CBS News. On Wednesday, an American military flight deported Asian immigrants who were in the United States custody to Panama, the first known deportation of its kind under the Trump administration. They included adults, families with children from Afghanistan, China, India, Iran, Uzbekistan, according to the documents. Another U.S. military flight to Panama planned on Thursday is expected to deport more Asian migrants in addition to some African deportees. The documents show they include migrants from Cameroon. In a statement Thursday, Panama's foreign ministry confirmed it received on Wednesday the first flight under the agreement with the President Trump administration that allows the U.S. to deport non-Panamanians to the Central American country. The ministry said Wednesday deportation flights included 119 deportees from Afghanistan, China, India, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Turkey, Uzbekistan, and Vietnam. The cost of deportations under the agreement will be covered by the United States ministry added. The deportation to the Central American country, a corridor for a mass migration that have gripped the region in many years, represents a significant diplomatic win for President Trump and his government-wide crackdown on illegal immigration. The United States has long had difficulty deporting migrants from Africa and Asia due to the long distance involved in deportations to the Eastern Hemisphere and decisions by governments in those continents to limit or reject American deportation flights. The United States Times first reported Wednesday's deportations of Asian migrants. The flights are underscored how aggressively and quickly the Trump administration is moving to convince countries across the region to accept migrants who are difficult to deport, even though they are not citizens of their nations. The governments of El Salvador, and Guatemala have already agreed to accept migrant deportees from the United States who are not from their countries. El Salvador's president Nayib Bukele has even offered to accept and detain suspected members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Garan who are expelled from the United States. The Trump administration has pushed more deportation agreements through, though it's unclear how many more agreements will be agreed to. One plan that has been considered would have sent third country nations to the South American nation of Guyana. Two United States officials told CBS News, requesting anonymous because they were not authorized to talk to the media. Panama's willingness to accept the deportees also comes as Mr. Trump has expressed an interest in retaking control of the strategically important Panama Canal, which the United States ceded to Panama in 1999. Panama's leaders have rejected the idea outright and disputed claims by Mr. Trump and the United States officials about China's influence on the canal's operations. The Secretary of State Rubio visited Panama in his first international trip shortly after taking office, and the State Department said last week that the United States has reached a deal that would allow its military ships to transit the canal for free. Panama president said no such deal had been reached and that the State Department's statement was based on falsities. No shit, they're always fucking lying. Who would have thought? Representatives of the Department of Homeland Security and State did not respond to requests to comment on the deportation flights to Panama. Like, it's just silly. That he had a lengthy and highly productive phone call with Vladimir Putin on Wednesday, in which the leaders agreed to begin negotiations to end the war in Ukraine. In a post on Truth Social, later, Zelensky said he had spoken with Trump about a lasting, reliable peace. The calls with the warring sides came as both Trump and his Secretary of Defense said it was unlikely Ukraine would join NATO, which will come as a bitter disappointment to Kiev. On Thursday, Pete Hegseth claimed Trump was the one man in the world capable of bringing both sides together and insisted the United States' attempts to negotiate peace were certainly not a betrayal of the Ukrainian soldiers fighting invading Russian forces. They're gonna meet in Saudi Arabia. They're gonna meet him on Friday. Vance and Rubio. Yeah, they were trying to get to Kiev, huh? You can see at home and mind its own business. North Dakota, huh? Might makes right, baby. You chubby butt. I was wondering why I couldn't do this. Do 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 do. Maybe. Timberwolves are gonna win, huh? Me reading was good. They tied the game in the middle of the third. Walker hit 3, and then we had to take the extents. Ooh, he shut down Nas Reed. He had a big game. Sucked yesterday. Look at 27%, man. We can't shoot fucking threes. At least they only shot 27 too. 8 turnovers. That's big. Didn't turn the ball over. Just couldn't make fucking. Can't make threes. Like they put their scrubs in, except for Jay Williams. Take your people out. You need 3-4 people out of this game. Wow, we're gonna win. Dallas wins. Utah, hopefully they can win. Golden State won. That's nice. Yeah, I'm never scared of fucking OKC and us. We match up well together. Da-da-da-da. Mm. What? Who's this chick? Ruby something. Ruby Freeman. That's funny. Ruby Bridges. That is fucking crazy. Only 70. So my dad's age. Let's do. That's fucking crazy. I mean, stuff I kind of already know. So I mean, I kind of tell this people all the time. It's 70. It's not that. I mean, like, so that's my dad's age. I said my dad was around. Fucking. My dad could have been the first kid. Like, if he was not that color, but that's crazy. That's funny. Cheesing. Gen Z considers 500 successful income compared to 180 for millennials. Per fortune. No, it's crazy. Ah, ooh. Timberwolves, baby. Nas Reed. Yeah, we shut down Shea. 11 for 11 on free throw line. And got a lot today. He was 10 for 11. See, if you just tack the hoop, I guarantee you get that more often. Shot 90% for the free throw line. Who missed? Rudy? Nope. Jaden missed one. Nate missed one. 20 for 24 or 20 for 22? Yeah, 50% and then 24%. Okay, we got 11 more shots. Damn. Damn. That is pretty cool. Peppers, Reed, Clark. You won the lottery. You can only keep 2 movies. It's gonna be The Rush Hour and fucking probably Bad Boy. Yep, I go with Brandon Tyler, who the fuck you are. Oh wow, more planes fucking up. Who would have thought? Ooh, Marcus Aurelius. What a smart motherfucking dude. Ahead of his time. I think I had this one. We were Power Ranger fans growing up. You got the Power Rangers. Come on, Jazz. Hold on. You're up by 9. Going to the 4th. That helped us some. Did they got the win and W? Nope, they don't got it updated. No, not updated yet. That is kind of weird. So true. How he claimed cheating when the election was started, and then he won. Voila, no cheating. True, but they don't want to hear those facts. That is funny. The old cuckoo. And jam. Take off, youngin'. Boom, 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 boom. Because you look like a 34. That's funny. Check out a family, homie. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Oh, yes, Mama Cat. How you doing? You beautiful, too. Oh, what's this fool gonna say? He's all shut the fucking. That's funny. He's talking about fucking Obama more than fucking anybody else. Carnegie R1 status. Place in the university in a group of the most highly regarded research universities. What do they research? Anything specific or just everything? Institutions classified as Carnegie 1 have very high research activity. This denotes that the institution has annual research expenditures $50 million in awards, 70 research doctorates each year. That's pretty fucking cool. Hell yeah, props. Bang, bang, bang. What? What is happening? Well. It's a lot of shit talking. Didn't really realize there was that much dead silence. MJ to Anthony goes. Drive to the paint, my son. Get to the line, you must. For the penalty, the other team will part the sea. That's funny. Yeah, let's go in here. Let's see. I haven't seen this yet. Let's watch this together. Commercial.
Yeah, hit it nice. We hit it.
I thought I heard somebody else.
Bottles of it. Charlemagne. Poison. Napoleon.
Who's the conquering king par excellence? Who fathered his own renaissance and gave birth to France? It is I, Charles the Great, son of Pepin the Short, tortured this overblown war, horny backwards forcing Corsican. The Pope died, saved the Holy Roman Empire, established it. It lasted 1,000 years until you pranced up and savaged it. Egypt, Haiti, Spain, your campaigns are too elaborate. Your bubble of an empire popped like an aberhit. I struck the fear of God in every land I take, leaving pagans quaking, making them do the Charlem shake. The bloody verdict of this battle has already been decided, like the love between you and Josephine is one-sided.
Oh, Charlemagne, you Queen's Carolingian charlatan. I'm the genuine article military artisan. You're a clanky old suit of armor. A bombard, the janky monarch of the Franks and the Lombards. Your joyous sword tore hordes asunder, but was a bit more hardcore. Now the deals have 4 numbers. That is canister shot, and you receive those balls when I blast you with my 12-pounder Griever ball. In a petite coverall, here to get my groove on. Even if I lose, I come back and get my cool on. I'll subdue you brutally, like a royalist in Toulon. I'm the smoothest French thing in Grace since poop on.
Oh, that's flow! You can't quite rock it! That must be why you keep your hand like that! No pocket! You are nothing but a whiny little egotistic swine! You got sunk by a Brit with a bullet in his spine! And your Russian debacle was even worse! You got beat by lice! You should have been listed in elementary school nurse! People still place my name next to God! Charlemagne! Now pretend I'm Moscow and retreat from these flames!
I kept a violet poison around my neck in case of capture, and I almost just drank it. You are that bad of a rapper! And I thank you with ease! Your loss is real because me! Like the Alps in winter with your pregnant wife, you shouldn't cross me! When I conquer, I don't need a pumped hand. I grip a diamond drift hilt and put your crown on myself. The only throne you belong on is Elytrise. You might be king of the Franks, but you can suck beans.
Hold wall. Holster.
I'm gonna have to go with Napoleon. Not by much, but I'll give it to him slightly. Slightly. Let's look up this.
Oh, no. That,
I was arguing with my brother and people at the bar that, barring injury, Victor Wembanyama was probably going to be the greatest basketball player ever. Because this guy can do fucking everything. Everything. It's fucking nuts. And plus, he's going to like I said, he's going to get like 8 to 10 defensive players of the years. I don't know who's going to win the award besides him for the rest of his career.
I'm sure we're all familiar with Victor Wembanyama's offensive game. The highlights can be breathtaking at times, as his sheer height and length and skill level can be simply overwhelming. There is no question why he's an all-star this year, as his impact on the court can't be measured in simple box score numbers. But there's something else going on that no one has been paying attention to. And I'm here to break it down so we can more fully enjoy the early stages of what is surely a Hall of Fame and potential GOAT career, otherwise known as the Wemby.
The Wemby.
Never have we seen someone who can combine freakish height, out-of-the-box dexterity, crazy athleticism and body control, great court vision and passing ability, which will be a major factor in propelling him to GOAT status at some point, and the cherry on top is his shooting skill from distance. And I'm not talking about spotting up right at the three-point line, I mean deep threes, the kind that make you say, this is just unfair. At his height, you won't find two big men in the NBA that can even try to challenge his three-point shot with any effect. But he's doing off-the-dribble step-back moves at 7 foot 3 inches tall. Mon Dieu, there's nothing you can do. If that was the bulk of his contributions on the court, he'd be well on his way to top 10 player of all time status. But that's literally only half the equation. He's been the single most dominating force on the defensive end to the point where I can't believe anyone in the league is still willing to challenge him near the rim. I mean, why is anyone willing to shoot the ball when he's anywhere near the basket? His on-court defensive rating would rank 4th in the NBA overall, and it's when he goes to the bench that the Spurs defense becomes a turnstile, something they need to solve in order to take the next step up the ladder in the Western Conference. But blocking shots is a common occurrence in the NBA, so how is Wemby separating himself in this category? For one, he's doing it on sheer volume. There have been 19 players that have ever averaged at least 3.5 blocks a game in the NBA since they started counting them. And Wemby was the youngest ever to do it last year, and is almost guaranteed to do it again this year. But
That's what I'm saying. He's going to average 3.5 blocks. This is going to be his low, and he's going to average like 4 blocks for his whole fucking career. And probably like a steal and a half.
But swatting shots out of the air or stripping players from the way up isn't the only thing that's happening. Plenty of guys can rotate over from the weak side, sky into the air, and swat the ball out of bounds with a scowl on their face or a finger wag for the cameras. The really valuable blocks are the kind that your team can recover and trigger into a fast break. These require a little more awareness and fingertip control and anticipation to not only read the offensive player's move, but to subtly deflect the ball so either you can recover it or a teammate can easily track it down. These are the plays that coaches love to see, and it's time to give them a name: the Wemby. I went through all of his blocks this year to calculate the percentage of Wembys he's giving the Spurs, and it turns out over 57% of his total blocks get recovered by his team. If you're wondering how that stacks up against the other high-volume shot blockers in the league, he's just about at the top of the list. It's not shocking that Anthony Davis has this ability as well, but I was a little surprised to see Brook Lopez so far above everyone. However, he's doing it in such low volume overall that Wembanyama deserves to have this play named after him. The first thing I want you to notice is how early he gets his arms up over his head when he senses a shot around the rim is going to go up. This serves two purposes: to beat the ball to the spot with his hand so he can swat it, but also to signal to the referees that he's not going to swipe down in an overt way that so often leads to a whistle and shooting foul. While it's a lot harder to jump into the air when starting with your arms over your shoulders, Wemby knows that his standing reach is already so ridiculous that he doesn't need to get that high in order to block these shots softly to either himself or a teammate. And he's mastered the English language so well already that he's got a good retort ready whenever someone really tries to challenge him at the rim. I had the chance to go see Wembanyama in person, and it's even more awe-inspiring live to see this unicorn glide up and down the court, which is why you have to get tickets to the game using SeatGeek, the best app for finding the greatest value for sporting events. Value. It's with my code people, so 10% with my NBA, and he can essentially wreck the whole thing by himself. He's an equal opportunity blocker of both the ball handler and the roll man, as he is mobile enough to stay even with the screener to dissuade the pass back and can react quickly enough to erase the shot from the driver. Watch how he drops to lure the ball handler into the dreaded mid-range, can reach from pretty far away with those long arms before trying to recover to the roll man, and then leaping from that position up and into a block of the jump shot. But he's also quick enough to show at the ball handler, and I want you to see something very interesting. Check how he turns his back on the roll man in order to accelerate and knock this pass away. No coach would ever teach this, but I suspect he's discovered something about quick movement that we can all learn from, as we get another example of why it's foolish to challenge him at the rim as he knocks it off the backboard, another smart thing we'll get into in a second. Again, watch how he shows to the ball handler to almost lure him into the pocket pass, then turns his back to accelerate and beat Miles Turner to the spot where he can retrieve the blocked shot and trigger another break. This is no fluke. He does it again here, and I truly think he's luring the ball handler into thinking he's got a free look with Wemby's back turned, only to casually knock it away at the rim. There's a ballet-like quality to his movement as he uses his pirouette style to enable him to track the ball handler as long as possible, but then recover to the roller and break up the lob play. Remarkable.
It is
Another method he uses more than most players is to block these shots off the backboard. There are two main benefits to doing it this way. One is that he can avoid a foul by swiping his arm in a perpendicular angle to the shooter. This way he can reach and swipe and limit
I don't got the highlights up yet. This is an old one. Never mind. Love this commercial.
Face. I'll tell you what, that was a great job by Alexander Walker defensively of not giving ground.
Switching hands, going glass.
That was an impressive finish there. Let's see if they can somehow sustain it here tonight.
Williams driving to the hole for the two-handed flush.
And I think 17 three-point attempts as well. So
Gilgeous-Alexander slam down. It's Holmgren with the hammer.
he draws so much attention, does Edwards, and then a nice find there for the triple.
Look out, Hartenstein. Major throwdown. Minnesota 6 of 6 at the free throw line. Gilgeous-Alexander, body bump, banker no. Hartenstein, the follow jam. Rookie from Illinois seeing more playing time. Aggressive two-guard. Keep the ball moving. Edwards drives in on Wiggins. Anthony Edwards!
Nice.
They outscored them 32-8 in the fourth quarter to get the win. Shannon driving, ball movement, Reed, extra, Edwards. Drive and finish.
That was as good of offensive possession as you want.
Final seconds. Williams hard drive, fades, gets the bounce with 1 second to play. Edwards, three-quarter court. And that's how the quarter will end.
And this is where if you're the Thunder, maybe you can make up some ground.
Reed. The jumper is good.
On both sides of the ball, such an advantage for the Timberwolves.
Jumper doesn't go for Joe. On the move. Shannon attacks. Lays it in. He challenged Holmgren for the deuce. Offensive rebound. Clark goes strong. It's blocked by Williams.
Same as yesterday.
OKC on the move. Williams all the way to the cup for two. Edwards, he remains in there. 54-42. Williams forcing the action. The floater, good, and a foul on a circus shot from J-Dub. Down by as many as 17. Swing it. Holmgren, open look. Bingo, a three. Williams being defended by Edwards. Gilgeous-Alexander now watched by McDaniels. 9 to shoot, under a minute to go. Gilgeous-Alexander, rainbow triple. 5 seconds. Reed lost his footing. Shannon.
Right hand.
Tough shot by Shannon. That was creative with the offhand.
That was the right hand.
They go to OKC the next night. Edwards working against Gilgeous-Alexander, gives it up. McDaniels, hop step, banks it in, and one. Gilgeous-Alexander held in check in the first half. Bounces, catch, release, Hartenstein. 4-point game, timeout, Minnesota.
From that position.
Played professionally in Germany and Lithuania. Hartenstein is playing professionally in America very well.
At a high level.
Minnesota up by 2, OKC. Gilgeous-Alexander, floater short. Rebound, ripped away, Hartenstein feeds it inside for Gilgeous-Alexander. We are tied at 68.
Spacing the floor, 3-level score, and a terrific defender as well.
Naz Reid,
Baby.
downtown hit. It's Shannon. Loses his footing and loses the ball. Holmgren ahead. Gilgeous-Alexander wants the angle. Spin. Spins it in. +1. 7 to shoot. Edwards. His jumper. Air ball. Reid never hit the rim, and Reid hesitates. It won't count. It felt like it was too late. 86-80. They can add to it. 3 ball doesn't go. Alexander Walker, offensive rebound. Dillingham.
Right again,
Alexander
baby.
Walker again. Drains the triple. Alexander Walker puts it off the window. Shannon naps it on the inside. Edwards, flyby. Edwards, book it. A 3. 4th foul earlier, so some changes here. Dillingham in, and so is the veteran Joe Ingles for the Timberwolves. Edwards lets it fly. He's got it. A 3. Offensive rebound off the Dort miss. Swing it. Dort over Dillingham for 2.
That's good D. Delivered that.
Gilgeous-Alexander makes his move for the pull-up. Bam.
That was just too easy. And that's when you push it up, you get the cross match. He had Garza on him.
Edwards, the bounce. Ingles drives. Outside. Pull-up. Short for Dillingham. Garza cleans it up on the interior. Minnesota comes in number 6 in defensive rating. McDaniels, the fadeaway, the feathery touch. Dillingham goes behind the back, gets it back, puts it up. Dilly. I'll put myself in that position again.
And when you're a great shot blocker, if you're not getting posterized, that means you're not trying to block shots, and that's a great job.
Williams off the feed from Holmgren for the flush. OKC is 2 of 10 in the 4th quarter. Edwards, his jumper, he's got it! A tray ball for Anthony Edwards.
That was a huge shot there. I was gonna say that might have sealed the deal, but they come right back down with that quick deuce.
Edwards back in on Dort. Kick. McDaniels drives in, fakes, fades, connects.
So nice. Damn.
Gilgeous-Alexander. Kick it out. Williams, extra, Dort. Pull-up is good. Garza 8 points, 7 rebounds. But now Garza ends up on his backside as OKC gets 2 on the board with Kenrich Williams between these 2 teams. Jones crosses. And a nice corkscrew delivery there by Flagler. Jones crosses.
Nice win. Nice win. Kids get free lunch. Where? But where? Like, what's, is it also, yeah. Universal school meals, not quite universal. Opted out of the free school funding. Parents say it's ridiculous to pay for lunches while across the state meals are. A lot of parents are probably like high school students are upset after finding out that they're still paying for school lunches. About a dozen parents told us it's ridiculous that they have to shell out hundreds of dollars a year when parents at almost every school in the state paid nothing except the taxes to support the programs. Minnesota serves an extra 8.8 million meals last fall after the legislation passed a bill sending money to schools to make sure kids get breakfast and lunch for free. Prior Lake, there's no such thing as free lunch for most students. About 14% of the students qualify for free lunches under the federal guidelines, according to the United States. The rest pay $3.25, and even some parents who can afford it think lunch should be free. Says they don't deny lunch to anybody, but parents joined a July school meeting in which nutrition mentioned what they see as a profit motive. We make money and we're able to support the students in need as well. Pretty mama cat. What? Oh, hi, mama cat. Hi, mama cat. You're beautiful. Yes, you're beautiful. You're beautiful, mama cat. You jumped on me earlier, didn't you? Yes, you did. Cute. I can see nothing to say about that, of course. Of course. Whenever you bring up a point, like, oh, I don't know nothing about it. Some schools opt out of the free. Was reading about Prior Lake. And who was the other one? Prior Lake and who? Bryan High School. Politics aside, because you don't want to admit that it was a left-wing idea and it was really good. Having these things for your kids is probably a good thing. I can't believe Brandon didn't show up. Nobody showed up. They must be on some other Discord meeting. Shit. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, thank you. Sure. Yeah.
Just don't ban him because I need to learn more about his accent. I'm gonna, yeah. I'm an actor and I want to learn the accent better.
What?
I'll just start making fun of his god, you know, Allah or whatever. You know. Gotta pray to Big Ben.
Hello.
I'll do that tomorrow. I think I'm gonna head out. Peace out, everybody. I was just pumping the algo today, but we learned some stuff about the thing that Mark asked me about, or asked anybody about, I guess.